Hey there, everyone. I'm going to do a different kind of video today. I'm going to do a tutorial. I don't do these. I'm not. I don't really think of myself as a coding guru, but I've used Ren'Py for quite a few years now, and I've learned how to do some simple stuff, which sometimes I'll see over and over again that people don't know how to do. So I'm just going to teach you how to do some basic thing in Ren'Py. Today's lesson, how do I avoid characters who constantly hug the walls? Sarah is here, but she's hugging the left wall. Thidra is here, but she's hugging the right walls. How do they appear? So that they don't hug the walls. Like this. This is like, I see this often. Like sometimes even with like high quality. By the way, these art assets are from the Silent Column, the first visual novel I like really made and released. Um, I actually was originally making this video trying to use art assets from the like Ren'Py tutorial game, but those art assets are smaller than like the default screen size these days, I guess because they're just older, so the screen size was smaller. But anyway, Um, also, aren't they just cute? But anyway, I will often, or not often, but semi-regularly see even professional games, like games that are being sold on Steam for money, and the art looks good, the writing is good, a lot of the coding is good, the music sounds good. Sometimes they'll like still bump into this issue. So I'll teach you two ways to actually get it to work properly because it just looks unnatural to have this huge open space in the middle for no reason. Um, it really does. Having something like this feels much more like, oh, they're actually casual and actually like spending time together. So I'll just teach you how to do that. Check out that title and this awesome title screen. So badass. Anyway, so uh here is the situation that we're bumping into here because the default positions are character will be shown in character will be shown in the center, uh, but Ren'Py knows that they don't want their characters to float by default. So um, because we're talking about human beings that are affected by gravity and such, so it wouldn't be shown like this in the perfect center canvas. It would be shown down like this so that their feet are actually touching the floor. So the positions are by default, you have the left position, the center position, and which the center position is just if you show an image with no context whatsoever. It just defaults to the center position. And then you've got the right position. So the two ways to do like something that we're wanting is to the center position works fine if you have someone who you actually want in the center, but if you have someone on the left, you could have them hug the wall like that, even though it looks unnatural, or you could do the other thing is that the characters are positioned based on like the actual dimensions of the image, of course. So if you just pad the image out so that it's like square or something like that, then if you show it and it's hugging the left wall, well, it doesn't really matter that much because this would all be transparent, you see. So that is a way that you could do it, but really we need to like it, and you could do that if you you're like scared or something, but it really isn't that difficult to just learn how to actually properly position characters like this. So let's see how to do that. So let's open up this. This is the code for the very amazing game that we just played. Um, so in this upper section here before the game starts is where you can dump all of your stuff relating to defining images, defining characters, defining transformations or transforms. So here we have character, like we have Sarah, we have Thydria, we have, because we're smart and we don't want to write dissolve all the time, we say define D equals dissolve. That way, when we show pictures, we don't need to constantly write dissolve. Uh, and then we have transform LP for left position, RP for right position. So what are these and what these mean? These are the proper positions that we have later in the game when they aren't hugging the walls. So just deleting some of I just made this project. It's just the default stuff. So little bonus lesson here. This is how you do italics. And really everything I'm about to teach you is like done better and more in depth in the tutorial game. I suggest that you read the tutorial game. Sometimes it can be a little heady and it can be difficult to understand what's going on, but just do your best, read the tutorial game. And if you have questions, you can ask people in Lemasoft forums or on the Ren'Py Discord, I think also, Ren'Py subreddit. Yeah. But here's what's going on here. Okay, so transform LP is because by default the left is just they're hugging the left, like we said. It's like here they are at left. So what happens when I'll tell you how the game thinks and how it works, right? So there are uh for our purposes we're going to talk about X anchors and X positions and X aligns. So the anchor is where the image is basically getting grabbed from by the computer. So this, for example, would be anchor X anchor that is zero point 0.5. Also, it would be Y anchor zero point 0.5 because this is halfway left to right and halfway up to down, right? So I think yeah, so this would be X anchor, Y anchor zero point 0.5, right? This would be X anchor 0, Y zero point 0.5. This would be X anchor 1, Y anchor zero point 0.5, right? And this would be X anchor zero point 0.5, Y anchor 1. And this would be 0, 0 up here, right? So by default, if you just display an image and here it is in the center, no context whatsoever, it displays it like this. Um, because it's grabbing the center of the image, but it wants it to be like pushed to the ground so that, like I said before, it's not floating, right? So the default position, that's the default center position. And then the default left position is like this, basically. And it's like, okay, let's just grab the bottom left corner and shove it to the side, right? And this is let's grab this and shove this to the side, to the right, right? Um, so what we're wanting to do really is having it like this. Uh, so And the positions are similar to the anchors. So, um, for the sake of argument, let's ignore the up and down axis. We're focusing on the x-axis, which is the side to side. So, by default, it's like, okay, here's a position on the screen. It's x anchor or x position rather, 0.5. It's in the center. X position, 0.0, X position 1.0, right? And then everything in between, this would be 0.25, right? And this would be 0.75, something like that. So we're what we're doing here, that's just a little visual. Let's go back to the code. So let's take a look here. These are our transforms. So the X anchor, which is where we're grabbing the image from, is the center horizontally of the image. And the X position is 0.3. So the idea being, of course, that the X position of 0.5 is the center of the image, the center of the background, right? So 0.3 would be like somewhere around like here. I tried 0.25 to be like over here, but that ended up looking a little bit unnatural. Like there was a bit too much distance between the characters. So, uh, and then just the same here, we have transform RP for right position. And of course, we could have gone 0.75, like we said before, which is over here. But I thought, hey, let's have them a little bit closer together. So we ended up with 0.7 instead. And that is literally all that happens. Like this is all you need to know. This is part of why I just feel the need to like let you guys know, because I see some people who still struggle with this, and it's very simple. Like it's actually very simple to fix. So here we see show Sarah at left, show Thidria at right. That's when they're hugging the walls because they're using the default left and right. And then when we have show Sarah at LP, show Sarah at RP, then we have them appearing here and here, right? Uh, and that is really nice. By the way, if you're wanting to show two characters at once, you can, like, I didn't know this. I'll show you. Here's a little bonus lesson, right? So I thought before they had to do this, right? Or like with D, like with dissolve, like this, right? But here's something really cool that you can do. And if you just leave it like this, it will just immediately boom, there she is, no transition. Boom, there she is, no transition. But what you can do is the Ren'Py is smart, and you can say with D, with dissolve, with move, and it will do that to everything that you have like listed up here. So yeah, let's run that game again for funsies. Now that we know what actually is going into it. So we're grabbing the images from the center and then positioning them um, like 0.3 along the x-axis and 0.7 along the x-axis across the entire screen. So let's just take a look. Characters who don't hug walls. And isn't that nice and natural? Don't you think? Now, just for the sake of argument, I'm going to pause the video and I'll be right back. Okay, everyone, I'm back. So, I grabbed Amy here because I'm going to show you what I'm going to be doing. Um, this is nice and all, but sometimes we're going to have three characters on the screen at the same time. And as you can imagine, if there was a third person here in the middle, it would end up looking a little bit cramped because they'd be too close together. So we can just make another picture. Sorry, we can just make other transforms where they aren't so close together and are like closer to the walls. So let's just do that. So let's say LPF and RPF for left position far, right position far, right? And then we'll make, we don't usually need a center position, but because as I said before, by default, if you just display an image without any context, it will just show them boom in the center position. But there are situations where um, let's say, for example, we hide Thidria and show Sarah at the center position. I don't know if that's how you spell position. I can't be bothered. I don't know if it has two S's at the moment. I'm not going to check. Um, so we hide Thidria with D for dissolve, and then we show Sarah at center position with move. And then let's just Shift R to reload this project. So this is why we want a center position, is so that we can move characters to it. So another thing I want to say here is, while I have Amy up here, well, first of all, I guess I'll just show Amy as well. So just a moment. As you can see here, we're implementing that thing that I talked about before, where we are having both of these actions being affected by this line, saying with move in this case, and saying with D in this case as short for dissolve. So now let's reload and see how it looks. Okay, so there they are in like the normal two characters on screen, left and right positions. And then we show, oh, oh, that's right. Okay, so the problem here is that I didn't actually change the positions in left position far and left and right position far. So let's just do that. Let's say, for the sake of argument, let's put that each of these up by 1 or 0.1. So they'll be, yeah, there we go. See? Or we would do it in a more natural way where it looks like we have the characters move first and then we show Amy, because that just makes more sense, doesn't it? There. There you go. And if this is too fast, um, think something like this. I forget how to write it. Move transition. Do you mean move transition? Here, look, check it out. It just corrects me. It's so simple. It's simple when you know what you're doing. I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, then it's hard. There you go. So now she moves more naturally. The default is 0.5. So I just think that's a little bit fast. But I think 1 is a little bit slow in this situation, right? Let's do 0.75. And there you go, right? Uh, so that is how you just modify, like we went over like a little bit of modifying the movement transition, speed. We went over having like a few more transform things going on, different positions that they can be in. Lastly, I just want to go over something else. So I actually really like when, just a second, we'll open this up in GIMP, the image editor that I have open at the moment. So honestly, canvas size, let's have it 1080 by 1080 square centered. I honestly do prefer when the images are just centered, and I'll show you why. Sorry. I'm being kind of vague. What I mean is I like when images are square, and I'll show you why. So let's make a new layer here. Let's scale this layer, and we're going to just scale it. Whoops. We're going to scale it to 5. No, no, it's an even number. Let's say 10 then. Okay, so there, this represents the midpoint. So see what happens is, actually, let's make it red. No, she has red on. Let's make it, she's so colorful. A deep blue, sure. So we want, this is what happens is that if you just crop to content for all of your sprites, it's going to be this. And this is the center point of the sprite, right? And we don't, and as you can see, it isn't really the center point of like where she is. It's just because she's got a lot of hair. So I like doing square images because I can be like, okay, the entire, she has all this wiggle room, right? So let's make sure that we have um, snap to canvas edges on so that we don't drift her away. Right, so now it snaps. Okay, so let's just line it up so that she's actually centered. It's not really about something like that makes more sense, right? Like this looks more centered than she did before. And then we say, yep, that sounds good. And let's export it and overwrite it. And now when we reload, it's confused because we changed the image. So it's like, what's going on? So let's just reload it. Again, Shift R. And now when she's actually being displayed centered, it looks like she's centered. So this is why I like, and if we were to revert back, let's just take a little mental image here, you can go back in the video. This is how she looks. Let's say that the center of her inner dress here, the gray, is right above at, right? So let's just replace the image. And we might need to reload the game again. Shift R. Sometimes I have to do it twice. And now, as you can see, the center of of her inner dress, the gray, is above the th and the. And you can see that she's just moved. So this is why I really prefer just like actually just center your images. They don't need to be so tightly bound to the character sprite. You actually want them to be centered, right? And as you can see now, when she's hugging the left wall, like we said before in the previous example, um, because she has all this padding, it doesn't really matter that she's hugging the left wall, but it's still better. Like Thidria here isn't doesn't have her image as a square, so she's more clearly hugging the right wall. But it's still better to actually know how to position the images, like this. But yeah, uh-huh. And because yeah, I mean, that's all there really is for me to say. I hope you guys found this video helpful. Yeah. See, not that hard. We're just talking about like anchors and basic stuff relating to how Ren'Py actually displays the images. Like, it's like, okay, we're talking about displaying things and grabbing things by the center, so let's make sure that the thing that it's grabbing from the center actually is like, if you grab from the center, it actually feels like you're grabbing the character from the center instead of whatever this is, where it's like you grab it from the center, but it's like here. It's like that's not from the center, right? Anyway, thanks for listening, you guys. I hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for listening.